Dakar. Promoting dialogue.
It's May Day in Dakar, 1 o'clock in Lagos. Good afternoon and welcome to Newslink on West Africa, Democracy Radio broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world at wadr.org. Coming up in the news, former jungler in the Gambia, Manjan makes first court appearance in Banjul.
This move shows that the country is finally beginning to confront the past rather than running from it.
No matter how long it takes, justice cannot be outrun.
Malayan authorities adopt a 5-year cybersecurity strategy to protect information systems nationwide. Family of missing Guinean journalist Kamara pressures authorities in Conakry 12 months after his disappearance.
This is a very difficult time for me and his family. Since Habib Marwan Kamara's arrest, we've been facing daily challenges.
The U.S. announces visa restrictions for Nigerians accused of persecuting individuals based on religious beliefs. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Augustine Coley with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. Newslink begins in the Gambia as reactions continue to trail the arrest and extradition from Senegal of a former jungler, Sana Manjan. Manjan, long accused of serious human rights abuses, made his first formal court appearance on Wednesday. He was a key member of the paramilitary Rocky unit linked to disappearances, torture and killings under former President Yahya Jammeh. WADR's Banjul correspondent Sandona Mendy reports.
Manjang, a key member of the paramilitary unit linked to some of the darkest abuses under President Yahya Jammeh, faces charges for alleged killings of 3 men in separate attacks carried out during the Jammeh era. His arrest, according to many Gambians, is both a reminder of past horrors and a potential step towards justice.
For victims and families, it could be a beacon of hope. They have waited nearly for a decade since the establishment of the TRLC. But whether this moment leads to lasting justice or ends as a token gesture will depend heavily on how authorities handle the legal process.
For many years, victims and their families have been waiting for a closure. No matter how long it takes, justice cannot be outrun.
This move shows that the country is finally beginning to confront the past rather than running from it.
Civil society groups have called for careful handling of the case. Sirif Mohamed Kijera of the President Accountability Project Gambia says,
if the government is serious about prosecuting all these notorious criminals, it should have started with Solbaji, General Solbaji himself. Solbaji has been here for almost about, a year and a half to 2 years of the day now to set the precedent, to take the bull by the horn, to start prosecuting some of these crimes, that were committed during Jammeh era.
Manjang was arrested on the 29th November in Kasama, Senegal, after a joint Gambia-Senegalese operation. He had fled the Gambia shortly after Jammeh's departure in January 2017 and had remained on the run until his capture. The Truth, Reconciliation and Repatriation Commission had previously identified him as a central to multiple regimes' ordered killings. Prosecutors say his case is being moved to the High Court. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdona Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
Meanwhile, a legal practitioner in the Gambia also weighs in on the trial of former jungler Manjang at a lower court in Banjul. Here is Mohamed Ndur speaking to WADR.
Yesterday, he was arraigned before the Kanifing Magistrates Court. But it is my legal view that if the offense with which he is to be charged with is murder, as allegations are made, then the Magistrates Court would not be the right court to hear that particular case because it wouldn't have the jurisdiction. Because the law is that any offense that carries a punishment of life imprisonment or death, such cases can only be had at the High Court instead of the Magistrates Court. I'm sure the proper forum for Sana, if he is to be tried, should be the High Court of the Gambia. And I'm sure authorities will do the right thing.
Right. And talking about the Kanifing Magistrate Court not in position to handle such a case, should the case be transferred to the High Courts of the Gambia, what are some of the punishments that are expected if he's found guilty?
Yeah, most definitely. The case as it is before the Carnifing Magistrates Court is or will be transferred to the High Court if the matter is to proceed. Especially if he is to be charged with murder, then it is the law that it has to be tried before the High Court. And the punishment for murder, as per the Criminal Offences Act 2025, is life imprisonment. So if Sana Manjang is tried according to Gambian law for the offense of murder, then his possible punishment, if found guilty, is life imprisonment.
Mohamed Ndur is a Gambian lawyer. Crossing over to Guinea, the family of missing journalist Habib Marwan Kamara is still demanding answers from the authorities 1 year after his disappearance on December 3, 2024. At a press conference on Wednesday, his wife, Mariaman Lamarana Bari, expressed deep concerns and wondered about her husband's condition or whether he is even still alive. She explores the Guinean authorities to help her obtain any information whatsoever about her husband's fate. Abdullahi Hassan has the rest of the details in this report.
A year after the disappearance of journalist Morane Kamara, his wife, visibly shaken, addressed the press in Conakry on Wednesday. Without news for a year, the journalist's family is struggling to cope with this ordeal. 12 months of unbearable waiting and many unanswered questions. Mariama Lamarana Bari is Morane Kamara's wife.
This is a very difficult time for me and his family. Since Habib Marwan Kamara's arrest, we've been facing daily challenges. As a mother, it is incredibly difficult. His eldest son, whom we had managed to keep hidden until now, has unfortunately learned that his father has been arrested.
Today, the journalist's wife is calling on the Guinean authorities to do everything in their power to secure her husband's release.
It's been a year. I don't know where Habib Marwan is. I don't know exactly who is holding him. I don't know where he is being held. I don't know if he is alive, if he is dead. I just don't know. I don't know if he is able to get his medication, because it is important to mention that he was ill at the time of his arrest. I sincerely hope to appeal to the authorities to help me find my husband. That's all I'm asking for today.
The Prime Minister and the government spokesperson recently indicated that the justice system is continuing its investigations into the disappearances of opposition members and journalists in the country.
Abdullahi Hassan with that report filed by WADR's channel Alpha Ibrahim Balde in Conakry.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Let's now take you to Liberia, where the House of Senate is today examining a proposal seeking reduction in the monthly salaries of senators. This proposed bill is rather stirring mixed reactions from the public, including lawmakers. As the situation unfolds, let's join our correspondent Ibrahim Parker in Monrovia now.
Good afternoon, Ibrahim.
Good afternoon, Augustine, and good afternoon to everyone listening.
Tell us about the proposed bill seeking reduction in salaries of senators that should be examined today. How is the process so far?
Well, lawmakers today converge on Capitol Hill, and all eyes are on the legislature exactly from the Liberian Senate, where lawmakers or senators today begin debating a bill being proposed or introduced by Montserrado County Senator Ibrahim Darius Dillon. According to Dillon, it's intended to reduce the monthly pay or salary, if you may, of all lawmakers, meaning the 103 of them, from 8,000 United States dollars to 5,000, which will constitute 37.5% in salary cut. And Dillon, who is the senator of Montserrado County, thinks that the bill or the measure would save the government of Liberia annually $309,000 when that measure, of course, is instituted.
What are the reactions coming out of the legislature, especially from his fellow lawmakers, including senators, regarding this proposed bill?
Well, some decided to push back by saying that the entire process has a political undertone. And in fact, other people from the opposition bloc think that this move by Senator Dillon is intended to score political grade. And if such a measure is passed, the glory will go to the Bouakas administration.
Thank you, Abraham Parker. We'll keep you posted as you follow the plenary section today.
My pleasure, Augustine. Thanks so kindly.
Elsewhere, the Ivorian government has denied reports claiming the existence of an Azawad office in the country. Government spokesperson Amadou Coulibaly stated that security services had found no evidence confirming the presence of such an office in Côte d'Ivoire. He added that the video circulating on social media, purportedly showing individuals linked to Azawad in a meeting, had not been authenticated by government authorities. The footage has sparked widespread reactions online and fueled intense debate. This development comes at a time Côte d'Ivoire is experiencing a resurgence of fake news. In response, the government says it is implementing strategies to combat misinformation, including public awareness campaigns and legal actions against those responsible. Let's now cross over to the Central Sahel region, particularly Mali, where the authorities have adopted a new national cybersecurity strategy 2026 to 2030 to coordinate the protection of information systems nationwide. This framework, enacted during the Council of Ministers on Wednesday, is designed to address the lack of a unified mechanism why digital incidents have been multiplying for several months. Presented by the Minister of Communication, Digital Economy and Administrative Modernization, the document marks the first attempt to coherently organize all of the state's digital security actions. Imo Edit completes the story.
The strategy is based on three guiding principles for public interventions, which include improving cybersecurity governance, promoting a digital security culture, and protecting against risk and attacks. According to the government, this effort is part of the digitalization of the administration, the Malikura Netasira Kabensan 2063 Ma ambition, and a national strategy for emergence and sustainable development for 2024 to 2033. Adopted during the Council of Ministers, the 2026 to 2030 action plan is intended to support this implementation, although the necessary level of funding has not yet been specified. The initiative comes as several institutions have recently reported intrusions, server compromises, and increased exposure of unprotected administrative applications. For the officials involved in drafting the document, the strategy provides a framework for structuring responses and strengthening the resilience of public services. They emphasized that the rise in the cyber attacks now requires a new phase of consolidation aimed at better securing public infrastructure and strengthening user confidence in digital tools.
Imo Edit with that report. You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Former jungler in the Gambia, Manjang makes a first court appearance in Banjul. Malian authorities adopt a 5-year cybersecurity strategy to protect information systems nationwide. Family of missing Guinean journalist Kamara pressures authorities in Conakry 12 months after his disappearance. Still ahead in the news, U.S. announces visa restrictions for Nigerians accused of persecuting individuals based on religious beliefs. We also have press review, guest interview, and sports news. Please stay with us.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Well, if you're just joining us, so we are streaming live on YouTube at WADR and on Facebook, WADR English Service. Let's now take you to Nigeria, where the United States government says it will begin imposing visa restrictions on Nigerians accused of persecuting individuals based on their religious beliefs. Washington describes the decision as part of a broader push to protect Christian communities facing violence in the country. Analysts suggested that the visa restriction signal growing impatience within U.S. cycles as violence and mistrust persists in rural Nigerian communities. At present, Abuja has yet to issue any official statement on the visa policy announcement. WADR's Usma Umar reports.
The United States has introduced a new visa restriction policy aimed at individuals it holds accountable for violations of religious freedom in Nigeria. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced these measures on Wednesday, describing it as a decisive step in response to what the U.S. perceives as persistent attacks on Christian communities in various regions of the country. According to the policy, the U.S. State Department will deny visas to individuals found to have orchestrated, authorized, financed, or participated in religious persecution. Rubio noted that the restrictions could extend to immediate family members of those implicated. This move follows heightened scrutiny from President Donald Trump, who in October redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. However, Nigerian officials have refuted claims that Christians are being deliberately targeted. According to government representatives, the pervasive insecurity affects citizens across all religious and ethnic groups and is largely driven by criminal activities, banditry, and protracted disputes over land and resources. President Bola Tinubu's administration, in response, recently declared a national security emergency, initiated new recruitment efforts for the armed forces, and appointed a team to collaborate with a U.S.-Nigeria Joint Security Working Group as part of efforts to address Washington's concerns. Despite these measures, however, the U.S. continues to demand more substantial progress. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
Now here in Senegal, Sheikh Anta Diop University of Dakar has been paralyzed by protests carried out by master's students from various faculties. They are demanding the payment of their financial scholarships. For the past 2 weeks, there have been clashes over the past several days with security forces who have been authorized to enter the university campus and restore calm, resulting in many injuries and several arrests.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Well, at this time, let's join Nadede Tete in Accra for the press review.
Greetings. Welcome to the newspaper review segment. We'll start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper front page of Fanko in Sawam Highway, 77% complete. President Mahama tours project site. Also here, inflation hit 6.3%, lowest since 2021 rebasing. And Trade Union Congress and businesses decry water and power tariff hikes. The Chronicle newspaper front page, Ghana needs radical rethinking to reset Nana Jumo Sapon. And minority criticizes decline in 2025 WASI results. Also here, Ghana records 11th months of inflation fall. The Daily Guide newspaper front page, NPP outdoors amended constitution and 6 UG learning centers not accredited as according to GTech. Also here, Electoral Commission postpones District Assembly and Unit Committee by-elections indefinitely. The National Enquirer, inflation drops to 6.3% and Ghana and Germany celebrate 50 years of cooperation. The Punch Africa newspaper front page, budget estimate, Parliament approves 5.3 billion Ghana cedis for roads ministry. GES sets record straight on 2025 WASI, and Boko warring factions resolve to smoke peace pipe. That will be it for the newspaper review segment. Is back to you in the studio.
And thanks to Nadede Tete for bringing us the newspaper review from Accra.
Politics, analyses on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Well, the guest interview focuses on the United States government's latest plan to begin imposing visa restrictions on Nigerians accused of persecuting individuals based on their religious beliefs. Washington describes the decision as part of a broader push to protect Christian commitments facing violence in the country. Analysts suggested that the visa restrictions signal growing impatience within U.S. cycles as violence and mistrust persists within rural Nigerian communities. However, security expert Dr. Majo Peters shares his analysis regarding the implications of the U.S. latest announcement.
There have always been visa bans. There are visa bans for people who they felt are not adherent or promoters or protectors of democracy. There are visa bans on people that they allege are corrupt or who are people that have perpetuated corruption in the system. There are visa bans on people who they felt have instilled violence or have caused mass atrocities in communities. There are visa bans on people that they felt are not protecting the tenets of governance and democracy. And because they have said that, it is still emphasizing their whole policy of FORB, freedom of religious belief. I think there is every single opportunity that comes now, the U.S. will hold on to it to see how they could streamline, restrict, and limit immigration into their system. And then they're using that as a point of diplomatic positioning on the issue of democracy, good governance, freedom of religious, and anti-corruption and free economy.
This move comes shortly after high-level security talks between Nigerian authorities and the U.S. Defense Forces. How might these visa restrictions affect ongoing security cooperation, particularly in intelligence sharing and counter-terrorism efforts?
But the visa is not banning Nigerians from going to the U.S. The visa is banning people who are complicit in not respecting freedom of religion, or those who are felt are complicit in attacking minority groups or people who are adherents of other faiths. So I think this is more like saying that you have committed a crime, you need to be punished for it. So I don't think that should impede or that should affect the conversation that is ongoing, because the conversation is about security. The conversation is about coming together to end terrorism. The conversation is being in alliance to ensure that terrorism anywhere in the world is a problem for everyone in the world. So the issue of saying those who are complicit, it's just like saying that, okay, I'm accusing your country of breeding terrorists. And you said, no, we are not, and we're into conversation. Then I said, okay, anyone who has anything to do with terrorism cannot come to visit Nigeria. So it has nothing to do with what we're saying. We're all saying the same thing.
Considering Abuja has not yet responded, would there be any diplomatic or security implications if Nigeria delays or avoids addressing this latest U.S. policy issue?
I don't expect the government to respond, because if I were in that position, I would not respond as well. It's like asking you a question and I ask you, have you stopped beating your wife? What will be your response? If you say yes, that means you used to beat your wife. If you say no, it means you're still beating your wife. So if they say there is, and we said that, there is no faith, spiritual or religious intended attack or target of any group for annihilation. And we say Nigeria, everybody has a right. We respect the freedom of religious belief. And now they said, okay, anyone who is complicit on the issue of religion, anyone who is complicit on impeding the freedom of religious belief is under visa ban. Are you expecting Nigeria to go and say, no, please don't ban people who are complicit? I don't expect the government to say anything. Rather, the government will say, yes, we're happy about this position. Let's all work together. That's diplomacy.
Dr. Maji Peters is a security expert. And now here comes Zankule, the sportive Janko, with the latest in the sporting world. Hello, Zankule.
Yes, hello, Augustine Akoni. First of all, let me ask you, do you know that the World Cup draw will be held tomorrow?
That's why you have the information as the sportive.
Yes. Well, I'm glad to tell you that, Augustine, tomorrow, the World Cup the World Cup tournament, of course, that is Mexico, US, and Canada. The draw will be held tomorrow in America. And guess who is leading? Former England international, Rio Ferdinand. So we are looking forward to seeing which teams, African teams, will be pairing against. Remember, we have the likes of Senegal, we have the likes of Ghana, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia. All these are representatives, Cape Verde, and small island Cape Verde, with about 500,000 population. They've also secured qualification. So we are closely monitoring to see which African countries, of course, Africa will be pairing.
It's just sad that we don't have the Super Eagles.
We don't have the... You want to be Christopher today? You want to make fun
of
it?
I mean, looking at the past records and
of course
the respect they have.
Of course, it's a footballing nation. It's a footballing nation. Nigeria is perhaps one of the biggest footballing nations in the continent. It's rather unfortunate, like you said, that they could not secure qualification. But they're not the only one, mind you. Cameroon also failed to secure qualification. The Indomitable Lions. Well, we'll keep that conversation for another day. But for today, let's shift our attention to something else. And guess what? Another thing that is a ball of contention each time of the CAF tournament season is when clubs refuse to release their players. And that's what we're going to talk about, because the mandatory release date for clubs to free players for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations has been set for Monday, 15 December 2025. Yes. It means national teams will have their final full squads just few days before the tournament kicks off in Morocco on Sunday, 21 December, with the final schedule for 18 January 2026. Well, FIFA confirmed the release period after discussions with CAF, stating that clubs and national associations are encouraged to hold good faith talks to find individual solutions for players involved in continental competitions during that time. Well, FIFA added it will step in to mediate whenever disputes arise, which of course we often see a lot. Well, for most clubs, last weekend players will be available is 13th December to 14th December before immediately traveling to join national squad. However, several fixtures fall on the same day players are due to report for duty, meaning some will miss those matches. In the Premier League, Manchester United hosts Bournemouth on the final day. Rangers face Hibernian in Scotland, while in Spain, Italy, Portugal, Turkey, and England championship are also affected.
I heard you talking about Manchester United.
Well,
one of the teams who complain about their players,
absolutely,
going on international duty when there are crucial matches ahead.
And talking about that, United have three good players that so they are worried at the moment. They don't want them to go, because three of the players that are expected to feature in the AFCON are Brian Mbeumo of Cameroon, Amad Diallo of Ivory Coast, and Nossa Masraoui of Morocco. Bournemouth have Amin Adli, could also line up for Morocco. United earlier raised concerns, like you earlier said, releasing the date might affect them because they have a football game on that particular day in the English Premier League.
Certainly. Thank you, Sankule, for the latest. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. Many thanks to Ismaila Kamara and Maudo Jufo for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via our social media platforms, X, Instagram at WADR English, on Facebook, WADR English Service. I am Augustine Curley. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Baga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.